Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be captivated by a voice that has mesmerized audiences around the world for over 3 decades, with the phenomenal 5 octave range and a commanding stage presence. Our next artist has built an extraordinary career from the Bay Area to Las Vegas and beyond. Accomplished independent artist in her own right and a celebrated powerhouse vocalist. Please welcome the talented Miss Monet. How you feeling?
I'm good. Oh my God, Tommy, that was so dope.
Thank
Oh
you.
God, I was wondering, like, did he talk about me? I'm looking
That's
around like me.
I'm talking about you.
Oh my gosh, no, that was what a beautiful intro. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
How 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 beautiful was that? Wow, thank you.
You're welcome. I had to bring you on correctly.
Yeah, oh man, thank you. And thank you for saying my name correctly too, Monet. People be
That's
like,
right.
Monet. I be like, no, 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 Monet. Like, no.
Well, I
It's
knew
Monet.
I'm sorry I couldn't put the
Accent over the E. I know it's one of the
I
hardest
couldn't
things. A lot of times I try to tell people just let me know how I can tell you how to do it sometimes, but in some fonts
okay.
it's weird to find. So
I couldn't
yeah,
do it. I was trying. I tried and tried.
I
So
appreciate the efforts. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. You are an accomplished vocalist and entertainer with over 30 years of experience as both a lead artist and a highly sought after background singer. Are you currently on tour with Will Downing, right? Or,
Yeah, I am one of I do sing with Will Downing. I'm one of his supporting vocalists,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, so
Mhm.
9 times you can see me. If you see Will Downing, I'm there and
Right.
everything. So yeah, sometimes and it depends on where we are location wise too. Because shout out to his other vocalists as well, Carol Riddick.
Okay. All
She,
right.
she
Mhm.
so if she's not on board, if I'm there. If I'm not there,
Yeah.
she's there, and vice
She's there.
versa. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she pick up where you are, or if you're not there, vice versa. That's how it is.
Yeah, we have each other's back, and we've both been singing with Will for I know I've been singing with Will now for well over 10 years. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
What just how was that relationship? When you guys are out, or how was the whole environment, you know, that
With
environment.
Will, with Will Downing, I can't speak highly enough of such a more perfect person to be
Oh,
working for. I mean, he leads by example.
yeah.
He's fun, he's a good time. We laugh more than anything and
Wow.
everything. And he's just a consummate performer.
Yeah.
I'm in awe every time I'm watching him perform from, my point of view. Like I'm singing with this man, but just to watch him night after night, just be Will Downing, who he is,
Wow.
and
Wow.
the icon. You know what I mean? Iconic Will Downing. He's awesome. Just an awesome, beautiful spirit, just a beautiful person. And like I said, we laugh and just have a good time all the time. So the environment is just always upbeat.
Okay.
Shout out to all my bandmates. I mean, we all collectively get together and just have a ball, and when we're up there playing, we're playing for us. Honestly,
Right. That's right.
the audience just gets to watch us have fun, because
That's
we're
right.
up there digging on each other. We're, all tuned in one another, hearing whatever, and we're like, "Oh, well, you played that!" Like, it's we're playing for ourselves, so it's like the hangout, So it's awesome. It's an awesome environment.
Well, that's great. So was the last stop Illinois or
Yeah, we were in Skokie, Illinois. I hope I'm saying
yes?
that correctly. Outside of
Yeah, yeah.
Chicago.
Skokie.
Yeah, we did that, and that was a lot of fun. I'd never been to Skokie before, but what a beautiful theater! I mean, the theater we were in was beautiful. The crowd was amazing, and
Wow.
and the weather was cooperating. It wasn't.
Oh,
I know
okay.
it had
Okay.
maybe snowed prior to, but the weather was perfect. I'm a California girl who lives in Las Vegas. I
That's
don't
right. That's
understand
right.
cold,
That's right. Yeah,
so.
you're always on that high. Right? You're always.
Listen, I'm always like, excuse me, what is minus what? Who? Oh, I'm not going there. You're part penguin. I'm not a penguin, you know. So, but yeah, we were in
Wow.
Skokie, Illinois, and had a beautiful, beautiful time and everything. And I think he has Richmond, Virginia getting ready to come up.
Yeah.
And also at the end of December, Cleveland, Ohio, and Detroit with Avery Sunshine and Leela James.
Oh
So those
wow,
are
that should be
coming down the
great.
pipeline, yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of
Mhm.
December. So yeah.
That should be a wonderful show. I know it
Yeah, it should
is.
be good. I
Yeah.
don't know if I don't. I know I'm not doing Richmond. I might not be doing the ones at the end of December as well. Again, but it's still it's an amazing show. I mean, you got Will,
Wow.
Avery, and Leela. Come on, that's gonna be crazy.
That's a whole different level.
Yeah,
Wow. Having worked as a professional vocalist for over 3 decades,
yeah. Whew.
often alongside legends, what is the single most important lesson you learned about longevity in such a demanding industry?
To be just to be authentic.
That's
You
right.
know, to be authentic, to be who you are, and don't detour from that. You know, this is who you are, steadfast into that being. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't try to please, as they say, don't go changing. You know, don't try to please anything or anyone stepping outside of your box. You know, when I sing alongside, like the Michael McDonald's and the Boss Gags
Right.
and look at,
Right.
their longevity. They are doing and being who they are since day one.
That's
Never
right.
did they change. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that was one of the main things I took away from each one of the artists, especially those iconic artists that I work with. They all, to this day, are who they are. You
That's right.
know,
That's
who
right.
I was introduced to them as being, and they are still those people, and very beautiful, genuine people as well. So I
That's
would
right.
say just stay authentic with your art form and who you are.
That's right. There you go. That's well said. Stay authentic. Right. Well, you're now stepping into the solo spotlight. How has your experience as a background singer shaped your approach to being a front woman and leading on your own show?
Just being in that position, looking at realizing that okay, I'm a supporting vocalist and I'm singing along, another singer, and then there's the band and my bandmates and everything, and that's just one facet. Then you look at who's handling the sound out there, the sound
Mm-hmm.
person, our in-ear, our monitor person, our
Mm-hmm.
lighting person. I realize each one of us plays a very important, intricate role in making this show work. When I work with artists like Joe Bonamassa, who, I mean, we have a crazy, big, amazing show, but
Yeah.
each one of us plays a very important part in making sure Joe, as Joe
Yes.
Bonamassa, stands out and does what he does.
Okay.
Looking at that, I really, really took to heart that you want to acknowledge your people, acknowledge,
Right.
and that's one thing I can say with the artists. They never made me feel like I was just a background singer or I was just,
Okay.
I
Okay.
always felt like I was equally as principled as they
That's
were.
right.
And that's what you want. And I took that to heart. So when I'm now in the front, I'm paying attention to what my background singers need, what my band people need, what my sound people need. They all make me sound good. I can't do it by myself.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
And
That's right.
so, being in that position, it helped me really appreciate everyone's role, because it can often be overlooked. The fans and the people, they don't see it. They just see the artist, right?
That's it. They see the artist.
Understand
That's
it's
right.
all of these things around here to make that artist
Make it
shine.
work. That's right. That's right.
So that's what I pretty much took as being a supporting artist and my position and how I was made to feel. And never once that like I said, was I made to feel like, that I wasn't worth or my worth wasn't valid. And I'm appreciative of that. And I took that with me. And now as a front person, I'm really, really making, are my people good? Are you
That's right.
good? If you're not
Right.
good, let's make it good. If it's let's make it right. Whatever needs to happen and everything. And anyone who works with me would tell you, Monet, yeah, she about
You
it. She
bought it.
about her people. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's
Because
right.
again, I can't do this without you.
That's
So
right.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit here and act like it's all about me. It's not. You know what I mean?
That's right. Because you need your travelers, you need your publicists, you need your manager, you need
You
these
need your
people.
people. You
That's
know what I
right. You
mean?
need them all.
Yeah, though I'm the face, but believe me, behind the face, it's
A
a
whole
10,
lot.
20 other people
That's right.
who
That's
are
right.
making this work. You know what I mean? So
And
yeah,
people
I
don't
don't
see that. They don't see
people
that.
don't. They
No.
don't. And I don't take it for granted at all, Tommy. Really, honestly, I'm so grateful. And even with us meeting right now, we just talked about my publicist Ron, who, reached out. I thank God for him. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Because it's people like Ron and people who are in my camp who, uh, uh, allow these scenarios and make these situations happen so you can know who Miss Monet, so your people can know
That's
who
right.
is Miss Monet and everything. I couldn't do it alone. You know what I
No,
mean? I don't know everybody.
that's right.
I know people, but do I know everybody?
No,
Everyone knows someone that does something, and that's the thing you want to always take into consideration. And like my mother always said, it's just good to be good.
it's just good to be good.
It's good
Wow,
to be
that's
good.
perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your remake. And your remake of You're Going to Need Me. You
Yes.
focus on strength, self-worth, and walking away from what no longer serves you.
Right.
How do you infuse your personal life experiences, and emotional healing into your powerful performance and songwriting?
Well, You're Gonna Need Me remake, originally recorded by the Miss Iconic Dionne Warwick,
Damn Warwick.
was written by the iconic Holland Dozier Holland.
That's right.
Um, and I always say that because a lot of people say they call it the Usher sample, but it's not the Usher
It's not the Usher
sample.
sample.
It is the
That's
Dionne Warwick classic.
that's
Okay,
what they
let's get
call
that
it.
understood. You know,
Yeah,
but songs like that and songs I've written or everything that just has the tendency to bring out self-worth, especially in the climate we are in right now. So many people feel like they're not worth or worthy of anything.
yeah,
So many people are going through life, not feeling validated, and or let me rephrase that, feeling that they need to be validated by other
but others,
situations that
yes, yeah,
don't feed them or
that's
don't
right.
school
That's
them. You
right.
know what I mean?
That's
I'm
right.
doing all of this just so you can like me or you
Wow.
could, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, if I only validation I want from is God,
That's
number
right.
one. That's the
That,
only person who can validate me.
that's
And
right.
so when you understand that, songs like You're Gonna Need Me, it helps you kind of go into yourself and say, listen, I know I'm worth it. I know I'm this. I know I'm this person. If
That's
you
right.
can't recognize it, fine. Bye.
Bye.
You're gonna
See you.
need me. Trust me. As I say, you're gonna miss
Wow.
when the well runs
The
dry.
one's right, then you're going to miss me. That's right.
You're
That's
gonna be
right.
thirsty as hell. So
That's right.
it's like, I have always been that type of person who wants to empower and uplift and really, really give good energy to people. Every Monday, I do this thing called the Mo Monday mantra, where I come on right before going to the gym and I talk about 15 minutes just, to tap in my people and to give them
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
I've read or came into my spirit and everything. Um, like yesterday, it was make a difference. That's all I
Make a
said. And they're
difference.
like, what do you, and when I mean by make a difference, make a difference. Be that person who, picks up the phone and say, hey, I'm just checking on you
Mm,
and everything. Again, life is life and we're going through
that's right.
so
That's right.
much. You know what I
That's right.
mean? And
Mm,
so people just need something to adhere onto, something tangible that they can take into themselves and say, you know what, it's going to be okay.
that's
So
right.
again, sounds
Right.
like You're going to need me. Anything that I can sing that's going to give you some sense of power or empowerment, that's going to help you say, you know what, I'm going to be okay.
That's right.
Um, I'm about it.
Uplifting. That's right.
Uplifting, exactly.
Uplifting.
I'm about it.
Right.
So yeah, so when I consciously made the decision to do You're Gonna Need Me, I had been wanting to do it for so long. I just had it in my back pocket and I finally said it's time to pull the trigger. And we did.
Wow.
It just felt really, really good, felt very needed. Um and the women who were here, they were like, "That's my jam." Yeah, of course, you're like, "You're gonna wake up when," of
That's
course,
right.
we were
That's
trying to
right.
tell
That's
him
right.
off, like,
Right.
but that's just the way, I kind of want to, women get it, men get it, but it's genderless because it's just, listen, I don't care who you are, you're gonna need me
Right.
because I know I'm worth it,
That's right.
so. That's why I loved doing that song and any song that just brings a sense of empowerment.
Well, I just want to know, like, what was the business movement like asking Dionne Warwick, or did you talk to her about that song? How did that conversation go?
Ironically, like I said, it had been in my back pocket for a minute, and shout out to my producer and collaborator, BJ Kemp. We always bounce ideas off each other, and
Okay.
um, after the success of Groove With You, the duet I did with Will Downing, we were like, how do we follow this up? And I said, you know, it would be dope. I want to do these two songs I would love to remake and everything. And You're Gonna Need Me was one of them. So we said,
Wow.
yeah, let's do that Dion, right?
That's
And
right.
we
That's
just
right.
did
That's
it.
right.
We just did it. But the beautiful part about it was Lamont Dozier Jr. is a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
And so before I released it, I sent it to him and I said, I want you to hear something. And I sent it to him and he sent me back. He was like, Mo, you just took me all the way back home.
Wow.
I was all the way back in
Wow.
Detroit. You know, again, this was his father's song, you know, and he was like, man, you just took me back. He said, yeah, you did it just. Thank you so much. So that was my confirmation. That's what I needed. I got Lamont's blessing and
That's right.
he loved
That's
it
right.
and released it. Got it to Dion's, I believe, publicist. I don't know if she ever heard it. I never got
Oh,
any
you're not
feedback
okay. You're not
on
sure.
it.
Okay.
But I'm sure if she has, or you know, it'll come down the pipeline, and I would love to eventually meet her and just say not only thank you for that song, but thank you for being that person, that
That's right.
iconic voice who was one of the first to break the barriers as far
That's
as
right.
music, you know, and going into what's now considered pop music versus
Hmm.
being soulful, the soul singer, you know, everything. Dion was
Yeah.
a pop artist, and so and she broke the mold. You know, she literally is the blueprint
Wow.
of people of color entering into the
Yeah,
pop
she
realm.
is. She is. And she's a great singer, you know,
Oh
and
yeah,
she put out some great records
oh
back
yeah,
then. She
oh
did.
yeah, oh yeah.
You've worked with some great artists, Phil Spector, Michael McDonald. What was the most impactful creative differences or collaboration you experienced? And what did you take away from it?
Oh gosh, so many. Gosh. Everybody's going through my head right now. I mean, I just every opportunity is has just been another like ding, ding, ding. You know,
That's
I'm
right.
so grateful. You know, I always tell the story. This was one of the moments when I was like, whoa, okay, God, yeah.
That's right.
I was singing. We were on tour, and it's Michael McDonald, Boz Scaggs, and Donald Fagen from Steely Dan. At the time, we were
Wow.
doing a tour of they were called the Dukes of September, and I was
Oh,
one of the vocalists on it. And we were at a table. I want to say we were in Hawaii, I believe, and it was just after sound check, and we were doing lunch or something, and we're just sitting at the table, and we're just conversing amongst each other, and it's like I'm sitting here. Um, Boz is like next to me, Michael's
nice to
across
you.
from me,
Yeah.
and my and Donald is like right here, and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here, just kind of talking back, and I'm like, you know, in the conversation, I don't know what we're something random, I don't know what we're talking about, but I just remember at that one point, I just kind of stopped and was like, whoa, and it kind of
Wow.
went slow motion for me. Like I looked at Boz, I looked at Michael, I looked
Wow.
at,
Wow. Wow. Wow.
and it just, I kind of went into myself, and I just said, my God,
You couldn't believe it.
wow. And I was kind of like, and I remember just sitting at the table and I said, "Ooh, excuse me," I had to get up from the table and because tears were starting to form in my eyes. At that moment, I realized I'm sitting here with three of the most iconic
That's right.
vocalists
That's
in
right.
this,
That's right. That's right.
and in the capacity of me working with them, but these are not just people that I work for. These are my friends.
That's
You know,
right.
Boz is like my second father, my musical father. Michael McDonald is like one of my, like, that's my guy, you know, and
Yeah.
Fagan is like,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm sitting here like, I have this just working relationship, but it's even beyond that. And I
Yeah.
just said, Lord, thank you. I
That's
was
right.
so,
That's right.
so grateful at that moment. And so I always use that as my wow moment when
That's
you
right.
really sit and think about where I've been. And, you know, I'm a black girl from Oakland, California, from the Bay
That's right.
Area, you know,
Yeah.
Oakland by
That's right.
Pittsburgh, California, you know,
Wow.
and to, you know, see myself in this position, I never could have imagined, you know,
Wow.
God
Wow.
was going to lead me to be with, but at that moment it hit me. You know, you're with three of,
Three.
you
We talking about
know,
icons. That's right.
icons, you know,
Three.
we icons. It's like, you know,
That's right. That's
distinctive
right.
icons. No one sounds like Boz. No one sounds like
That's right.
Michael. No one sounds like Fagan.
Distinctive. Wow.
You know,
Is
so
this still surreal when you think about? your career now, do you still believe that this is really happening for you, or you over it right now?
All the time, every day. I wake up every day and I just say, Lord, thank you, of course, for waking me up and giving me the opportunity to do it all over again.
That's right.
And I want to have opportunities to sit and talk to you about my career and where I've
Right.
been,
Right.
just to kind of go back and reflect. Every time I have the opportunity to reflect and have the sense of reflection on my career and what I've done,
That's right.
I almost choked up. I'm right even
Wow.
right now. I'm trying my best to kind of because God has been so good to allow me to see and to have done so much. Yet in the same breath, there's still so much more to do.
Still so much more. That's right.
And so I'm so grateful that, it's new, as my sisters say, it's brand new for me every day. It,
That's
it
right.
starts with me
Right.
every day. And the opportunities that have presented themselves and continuously do is just a confirmation that I'm on the right path and doing what I'm supposed to do.
That's right. And it's always a great feeling because you like, wow, every day you wake up, it's like I have something else to do. You've been around this person, that person. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I mean, even like when we're done, I have to go in my home studio here, and I have to go record a vocal for David Page. Who, if
See?
you don't know who David Page is the founding member of Toto. So if you're
Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
Georgie Porgy and Rosanna, David Page, to
That,
be real, Cheryl Lynn. I
that's
mean, I
right.
could go on
That's
and
right.
on, but I got
That's
to go
right.
do a vocal for him. And again, one of
Wow.
my
That's
friends,
amazing.
you know what I
Wow.
mean? And so, again, these are people who come on Monet. I mean, when you get a David Page calling me, when you get like a Steve Jordan, drummer
Wonderful.
extraordinaire, who was,
Wonderful.
with Stones for years and John Mayer and everything. And even just recently, his best friend and we just connected Mixmaster Mike, who is the
Yeah,
DJ, the Beastie Boys.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right. That's right.
I
No,
mean,
no,
these are
that's
my
right.
these are my people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
This
mix
is
master,
my
yeah.
homies. And so when I sit here and be like, God, I could,
Wow.
I don't. I'm not a bragger. I'm not one of those people like I know,
Yeah.
dude. I've never been hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
And so a lot of people are like, you never talk about yourself, and I'd be like, I know, but
Humble.
I
You keep it humble.
listen. God is good. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I don't take it for granted. I'm just so grateful that I have these relationships with these people, and then it continues to grow. And I'm still, like I said,
That's
I'm
right.
still on the pathway moving
Right.
forth, and just trying to just be my name.
Well, keep going. You have a lot more to climb. You have climbed ladders and ladders. It's levels. They say there's levels to this. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
levels.
It's just continuously going on and everything. So again, it's new for me every day. Because a lot of times, you be like, why am I doing this? What's the, and as an independent artist, we do go through our senses of frustrations.
Yeah, we do.
Are people digging the music? Are they getting it? Even right now, I'm like, okay, 2026 is coming up. What do you want to do, Mo? Do I want to release another single? Do I want to do a record?
That's right.
And I've been like, in this headspace
Bouncing
of do I
back
do
and
a
forth.
record? And then, yeah, yeah, because I'm like, okay, do people still buy records? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
another thing.
are people still buying records? Are people still, interested in that? Or do people get what they want and, you release a hot single and then let that ride, which is what I've been
Yeah.
doing. I would
Dropping
love to do a
singles.
complete but yeah, but at the same time, it's like, the way the industry is, the way streaming is going,
That's right.
it can be
Right.
somewhat discouraging. So, but I keep pressing on and just do what I feel is best for me to do and how I move forth. And just keep at least producing good music that I can.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
What did your experience on NBC's The Voice teach you about yourself as an artist that you didn't already know after decades in the business?
Oh gosh. What did it teach me? Um, Gosh, I don't know if it really taught me anything. It was a challenge more than anything.
Okay, it was a
And I
challenge.
say that because shows like that I never was a fan of. I never was a fan of the American Idols, The Voices, American Got Talent. I never was a fan because my degree is in psychology, and I always thought about the psychology, the psychological component for these
Mhm.
people. week after week is week. You're killing it, you're killing, you're killing it, and then you have one
Yeah.
week, and you kind of, and they're like, I don't know, and then well, you voted off, and just cause one
I never
little
understood it. Yeah, I never understood that.
and that can mess with the psyche, you know what I mean? And I
That's
always
right.
was
That's
like,
right.
what happens to these people, especially the young
Right.
people? You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
This
That's
is
right.
their dream and aspiration, and you kill it, and then this week, you didn't really do it for me this week, dog. You didn't really kill it and
That's right.
everything. And I saw that happen while I was, going through my
Wow.
processes.
Wow.
Um, when they didn't get their chair turn or they didn't blah blah blah. And I mean, and they were breaking down, you know. And I just felt so bad. And a couple, I was talking to them. I had to tell them. I said, "Look, listen, what's your name?" And they tell me name. I said, "Here, you came here as that person. You're going to leave here as that person. This show does not
Right.
define you. Okay, don't allow it to define you. Let it use it as an opportunity to go in and hone your craft even more so, even better.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
and because I felt like that's what needed to be said.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
always so again, like I said, I never was a fan, but when I was given the opportunity and they reached out to me to do it, friend of mine who was a talent scout, he was like, "Look, Mo, I really want to submit you," and I was like, da 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 da.
Yeah. It hurts. I'm sorry. It hurts because that's like a once in a lifetime thing. And when you go in there and you lose, it crashes your world, you know?
Well, it crashes your world because you
Okay.
put it all into that. I guess is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Easier said than that, I'm sure. But again, it's like if you kind of go in, like for
Yeah.
me, I went in with the idea of they're not going to let me win
Okay.
for
Oh,
obvious
okay.
reasons, and my obvious because I'm too professional. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So they're not going to really let me win. But when you go in and you know this, well, let me just do what I do. I
That's
didn't
right.
go in with the intention to win. I went in with the intention of a broader scale,
That's
seeing
right.
who Monét was.
That's
But
right.
let me use
That's
this
right.
platform for them to see who I am.
That's
So
right.
in that when the opportunity came, let me just show up and do that part, and then let me get as far as I could. And I made it to the top 24,
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
that's great. That's great.
So, you just have to have a different mindset. But again, you got to have the experience and the know-how to go in there and say, look, no matter what, this doesn't define me.
That's right. That's right.
It's not the end all be all, like I said, but when you're going in there, this is my big break. This is
When you
my
put it all down on the
everything,
table like that, you know,
and then it doesn't happen. You're like,
yeah, now you
you
feel
know,
messed up.
but it will humble you. I mean, again, because you have people going on here who have accolades and have done this and done that and everything and didn't get a chair turn. Then you
Wow.
got to walk away and be like, and that could have easily happened to me. I'm Miss Monet, and I could have easily been like, and Miss Monet is going home. You know,
Wow.
um, I got cut twice. You know,
Wow.
so first time, and they brought me back. Like, nope, we must do that.
Yeah,
You
what
know.
happens after that when you're not picked by no judges? So when you go home, what was the first phone call you received, or how did it happen for you to actually be where you are today from that show?
But
How did that happen?
when I lost my battle, or
Yeah,
just
yeah. When you lost the battle, you had to go back home. What was the
the
first
first
phone?
time. Yeah, the first time it was like I lost about it was the thing about it. I knew it was very obvious for me what was going on. Because here's the thing, like I tell people all the time, it's still entertainment. It's TV.
It's TV.
It's entertainment.
That's right.
No.
It's like
So
reality show. Go ahead.
So, with that being said, the writing was on the wall, how it was being scripted down. I was like, yeah, I see what's going on. Okay. So I already knew. And, you're done and everything. And then you walk away and you goodbye and whatever. And then they want you to go talk to a psychologist, make sure you don't jump out of a window or something like that. You're like,
Oh yeah, that too. Psychologist. Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and again, as a psychologist, I appreciate that because you want to make sure the mental state of a person is okay.
After
You know,
that, yeah, yeah.
after that, like you said, you know what I mean? When you just going through all that and whatever. And so that was it. And so I came home the next day. That was Friday night, came home Saturday, and then Sunday they called me to come back.
Oh wow. Okay.
We're bringing you back, da 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 da, and everything like this. So and went through that. So got to the playoffs and whatever. And then once we got to that point, that's when they had to pick Reba
Who's going to?
McEntire.
Yeah,
coach. She had to pick who she wanted to push through to the lives. And she
okay,
had three artists to pick through for the lives, and she chose all country artists. Again, I went with that expectation.
that's
You
right.
know,
So
even though I was the strongest singer on her team at the time.
but you
And
already knew, you knew.
I knew because it was like, she could have pushed two country artists and me in it, but they didn't want,
I know, I know, I know. Wow,
And I have to look at it now, it was Reba. What if that had been like Shaka Khan as a coach? I would have automatically,
you would have slid right on through, right
see what I'm
on
saying?
through.
So I
Yeah,
understood. It was her first time as a coach. She's the queen of country. She needs to represent.
yeah, of course.
So,
The
yeah.
represent those their kind. You know, understand?
But yeah, but it like again, if anything, it taught me just to be just a little bit more, you know, how to play the game. And I knew how to play the game, but how to really, really read between the lines and understand. And then as it's unfolding, you know how to strategize in between. So you still walk out victorious. You know what I
That's right.
mean? You
That's right.
still walk away like, okay, I did what needed to be done for me and
That's right.
let it sit well with you. So that's pretty much what I got out of being on the show and everything like
Yeah,
that. Again, I used it to, now I'm Miss Monet from The Voice, perpetuity, and you can go
that's
on
right.
and see it forever and ever and ever. I still get people who are like, "Oh my God," and The Voice, and I'm like, "God, that
That's
was
right. Yeah, years
18
ago, but
years
still,
ago," but
they remember that. You know what's sad about this? The industry is a wicked. This industry is so wicked because it's not about talent anymore. I think they looking at either followers or they looking at how you look. They don't
Mhm,
care about if you can sing or whatever you can do, as long as they can sell you, as market you.
mhm,
That's what it's about. And then you have to get with the right people. You got to
mhm,
connect with fall into the hands of the right person. And it's hard. You got some great singers that don't get no exposure. Great singers out here. And it's
mhm.
hard for them. They don't know, you know,
Absolutely, lots. They go off of trends.
trends.
You
That's
know,
right.
that's what people going on TikTok and doing stuff and trying to get viral that way or whatever, and followers that way and everything. And you're right, they're going off of that,
That's right.
and then they're, going. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you heard or maybe you have about the AI artists.
Oh, that's the friends. Yeah, yeah, AI artists. Wow.
You got an AI artist and signed a multi-million-dollar deal on an artist that's not even real.
That is a sick, that's a whole different thing. That's it doesn't make any sense.
But you got, like you said, many artists out here in this world
That's
that are
very talented.
here, that
That's
are here,
that's right.
tangible, real people, and they can't get that opportunity.
You have to be in the minds of them to understand. If you don't have that understand, if you don't know, you're just gonna be confused because they are the author of confusion. That's what I put it out there. You
Mhm.
know, many artists define success by charts or awards, but you've mentioned that for now, success is happiness and staying present.
Mhm.
How do you manage the balance act of the business side of music while maintaining a sense of inner peace and presence?
Oh gosh, staying grounded, you know,
Okay,
making sure that I'm tapped in with my family, my friends.
that's right. That's right.
It's so important because they continuously remind you of who you are,
That's right.
where you come from. Just on Thanksgiving, my god brother and I, we were having dinner, Thanksgiving dinner at my mom's friend's house, and someone says, Mo, Mo, Monet, Mo, and everything. And my god brother looked and he was like, Kanisha. And I looked at him. And I was like, whatever. He was like,
Brought you back to reality.
you Kanisha.
That's right.
And I was like, I am. But he was like,
Wow.
I know you Monet and all of that, and he was saying jokingly, but that's the reality.
Keep
I
you
am
grounded.
Kanisha. I am
That's right.
Kanisha Monet. That's my full name.
That's right.
And It's moments like that that it brings you back to reality of who you are and where you come from, the people who love and support you. So just staying grounded, staying within the realms of that, staying prayerful.
That's right.
I am big on my faith, and just staying within that. It keeps me humble. Of course, I'm a humble person, but it just really keeps me because I have a different understanding, a different sensitivity when it comes to just people. I want all my people to be okay. I want everyone to, just be as harmonious as they can possibly be.
That's right.
So again, I think I said the main thing is just staying grounded and just being intact with my family. It just kind of gives me the leverage to when I deal with business and deal with the things. I'm not taking things personal.
That's right.
It's nothing. I'm not. It has nothing to do. Even like with the voice, my mentor who did it before me, Wendy Moten, and she said, "Listen, it ain't got nothing to do with your talent.
At all.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's all I need to know."
Wow.
She said, "It is a game,
You
and
got to
it's their
play it. You got to
it's
play
their
the
game.
game.
You're just a pawn. It has nothing to do with your talent.
Wow.
Understand?"
Wow.
And so when you understand and you know that it's like that, I kind of just take that. You can't take the talent that God gave me. That's mine,
That's right. That's right.
So with that, I take nothing personal.
Okay.
I just continue to move forth as I should and in the way that I have been directed to. So yeah, but the main thing is just staying grounded with family
Stand
and
ground.
everything else it balances itself out.
Yeah, because once you come from a place where you know the love is not really genuine, but you're around it. But when you go back home, that's where the love is at. Your family.
Mhm.
This is where the love is at. So coming
Mhm.
out of one place, the industry, and then going back home, you feel like at ease sometimes.
Yeah.
At times. I'm not saying all the time, but at times you do. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why they say home is where the heart is, right? It's like,
Right. Right.
I had just wrapped up. I'm a principal artist here in Vegas at Delilah, which is the number one supper club here in Las Vegas.
Oh,
And
okay.
we just wrapped up F1 week, the big race here that they
Yeah, what
do
is that?
every year.
What is
And
what's F1? I'm sorry, what is
F1,
F1?
F1 is Formula One racing. They do it all over the
Oh,
world
okay, okay.
and everything. So, like in Qatar and different places. So, for the next 10 years, Vegas is one of the locations. So, we just
Wow.
completed the third year of them literally turning my city into a racetrack. They just tried.
Oh, wow.
It's,
That's
the
different. Wow.
city is a whole racetrack. Like the strip, it becomes a racetrack, and they
But
just
it's beautiful, right? It looks nice, right? Like that.
it's pretty dope. I mean, but people from all over the world, excuse me, come all over the world to come see it and everything and follow the race. But during the race time, it's always, you know, uh, heavily celebrity filled,
Yeah.
parties, this and that, and again, where I'm at was one of the main, was where they do the official after party. And
Okay.
so, me being the main singer, I'm singing there every night. And so I was just there night after night after night after night. And the last night, which was the big after party,
Mhm.
that Saturday night, and we're there till like 5 in the morning, and I had a 7 a.m. flight to come home back to the
Wow.
Bay
Wow.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And by the time I got on that plane, I got home, I
You
was
was
like, I'm
exhausted.
at, I'm good. And it just felt like you just said I was able to just get home and just decompress.
That's right.
I didn't have to sing. I ain't had to put on no makeup. I didn't have to
Just
do
lay
nothing.
down and relax.
Laid down. Mom went to church. She came back. She knows. I told her she made some had a real Sunday dinner. It was just, yes, I am at home.
That's right.
This is
That's right. That's right.
good. And that's how I was for the whole week.
That's
It just felt really, really good just to again do nothing.
Just relax.
Just
Just sit back and relax.
chill.
Wow.
So yeah, so I often look forward when I have opportunities to do that.
Go back. Wow. Can you describe the moment you realized music was more than a hobby, that it was something you had to do?
Hmm. Um, as a child, I mean, I grew up singing. Family is Everyone in my family literally is a singer or a musician. My biological father sung with Marvin Gaye for over 13 years or so. My mother was a gospel artist and singer. My grandparents were gospel promoters and had a gospel group. So it was always this continuous music on both sides that was
Mhm.
just continuously moving about. And it was just innate. It was just something that my mother said, she knew I was going to sing. She said, "You came out singing one of the highest notes ever." She said, "You didn't cry. You came out singing a
Wow.
note." I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" She
Wow.
said, "You came out
Wow. You came out singing a note.
like what? What?" She said, "You're high." She said, your squeal was like a." I was like, "What?" She said, "So she's like, yeah, she gonna be a singer." So she said she knew I was going to sing, and it was just something that I just, as a child, just zoned in on. I would give my stuffed animals concerts. Other kids would be outside playing. I'm in the
Yeah.
basement with the record player, um, giving concerts to my stuffed animals and my dolls. And she said she was like, I couldn't get you to go outside. You just wanted to be
Wow.
with the record
Wow.
player. So it was just, I just grew into it. And then, when I discovered I had a voice at 7 years old, I think is when it was like Prodigy, this kid got my first solo in church, sung at won my first talent show, citywide talent show, went and won the whole thing at 7 years old.
Wow.
And at time it was like I knew I was going to sing. So everyone knew it was just one of those things. And then I
Mhm.
started singing in clubs at 14, 15. Wasn't supposed to be in the clubs, but they would let me come sing. And then
Yeah.
when I was done on the set, I had to go sit in the office because I couldn't be around alcohol, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because you
Had to sit in the
14.
office and just sitting there. So my uncle at the time, he was go with me. He would just sit there with them. It was time for me. Couldn't they let me come? But there's like this child is how old and you sing your voice is crazy. So
Wow.
I always knew. I always knew. And my mother, when I got to high school,
Mhm.
and she just said, "Okay, my only wish is just graduate. You graduate from high school, and then you can do whatever you want to do after that." I can, Mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you chose
That was
that.
that was my
Okay.
thing. And I literally graduated from high school. And then 3 months after that, I was on the road with Huey Lewis and the News for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Did your mother ever go with you on the road?
Not back then, but now I take her everywhere.
Oh, you take her now?
Yeah, I
That's
take her now. She's now retired and widowed. And so, matter of fact, I was just talking to her last night, like, Mom, I need your information because I'm a principal artist on the Smooth Jazz Cruise,
okay.
hosted by Marcus Miller and Boney James. We do that every year.
Okay.
And so I've been taking her with me on that, and
Okay. On the
she enjoys.
cruise.
She's more famous than me on the ship, really. They all like Mama Mo, Mama Mo. She just
That's
buzzing
right.
around, hey, signing
That's
autographs. I'm like, Mom, you signing
more,
autographs?
more famous than you are. That's right.
I thought it was like my mama. I had to call my sister, work, your mama on the girl,
More,
your mama on the signing autograph. She was like, "What?" My mom
that's
was like, "Stop
right.
telling her lie, Mom. You just signed an autograph." She wanted me to sign her book. I said again. I said they be like, "Where Mama Mo at? Mama Mo." I'm like, "She
That's
here. She coming."
right.
So, but it's been a joy. I took her to Dubai with me when I represent the United States for the World Expo,
Yeah.
um,
She
which was
enjoyed that, didn't she? Wow.
that was that was a life altering experience for me. That's when it stopped from being just something I do
And two,
to
yeah.
being my ministry,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Singing was I was a singer. And this is what I did. This is what I da da da. Da. But
Yeah.
after my experience in Dubai and coming back, it changed from just being that to being this is my ministry.
My ministry.
Um,
Wow.
and that's it shifted for me. And the reason why is because prior to going, I'm an independent artist, and I remember talking to my mother, and I was putting my song list together, and I was like, "Are they people going to get me? I'm not the Rihannas or the Taylor
Yeah.
Swifts, or and this is." I'm representing the United States, but this is on a world stage. You know what I mean? This is the
Right.
World Expo. So I'm exposed to all these countries. And my mother just said, she said, just go be Monet. Just go be
Wow.
Mo.
Just go
And
be
I said,
Mo.
okay, all right. And that was it because I was headlining. And every night I did my show, my crowds was just getting bigger and bigger. It was crazy.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
I'm watching the freedom of people. I'm seeing the ladies, they're with their faces covered up and they just snatching them off.
Wow.
Hey, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get kicked up out of this country because y'all,
Wow.
what? I'm getting the people riled up and they're chanting and
Wow.
I was
That is
like, the security had came and just went down to the stage, and my mother was like, "Did somebody call a bomb? Get my kids."
Wow,
She's worried.
wow,
She's trying
wow. She was
to.
worried.
She was worried about me because they
Yeah.
rushed the stage, and she was like, "What's going on?" The people
Wow.
were just
Wow.
amped up, fired up, and I,
Wow.
just experiencing that. And like I said, I came home, and I remember I came home after that, and I literally sat in my home for like 3 days just in silence. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't. I just needed just
Because you
silence.
couldn't believe it, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
I had to let it. I had to just kind of sit and let it, just reflect on it, letting me absorb it. Like what just happened, and that's when I realized that
It's
this
serious.
this is
This
my
is serious.
ministry. I've seen. I just saw people free themselves from my voice and the freeing and the crying and the da da da. And I'm like, this
Right.
is ministry. This is healing for people.
Right.
This is why I sing now. I don't sing for, again, the accolade or the da 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 da. That's beautiful. It can come with it.
Hmm.
But now when I sing, Tommy, it really is healing. Someone needs to be touched.
That's right.
Someone needs the word. Someone needs it to be tangible enough for them to take with them to say, I needed that.
That's right. Right.
That's when it switched for me. And I said, this is now my ministry. So
Hmm.
every time I get up on that microphone, even night after night, when I go to my supper club before I walk in, I said, Lord, let me bless and be a blessing to these people. I don't
Hmm.
know in what capacity, but only you do.
Right. Hmm.
And I know when it happens, you know what I mean? And you see it. People are just like, and I said, so that's when it became my ministry, and it changed for me. That Dubai trip changed it.
It changed it.
Yeah.
When you step up on that stage, are you still stage fright? I
I,
mean,
I've never been stage fright in my life.
oh, never? Wow. Oh,
Never been. I've sung on many stages,
since
and
the
I've never
first day? I'm sorry, since the first time
since
you
day
walked?
one. Since day
Wow.
one, I was just always been fearless. You can't be afraid of what you do, you know what you can do. Like I said, go prior to going to Dubai, I was concerned, are they going to get me? And if there was any sense of that would have been it, and only because I know I'm being put on this world stage, not just
Yeah.
Las Vegas or Oakland or anything. This is the world. I'm
This
being
is the world.
exposed.
Right.
And it's like, I want to be able to make sure that my messages come across, that the music is conveyed and is received. And again,
Wow.
I'm not a big world artist and everything, but I have to be who I am. Like I said, so my mother was like, just be Monet.
Right.
That was it. That was my only sense of, because I knew the responsibility for me that I had on my shoulders, that I put on my shoulders for myself. But
Yeah.
outside of that, and again, having gone through that, what did it do? It changed my ministry, and it also was like it was confirmation that said from God saying, "Look, I don't care what stage you get on,
That's right.
you're gonna get it."
That's right.
You know, and
Right.
and if anything, it boosted my confidence even more that I don't care where I can go sing in this anywhere in this world and have that same result. And so that just showed me that. But outside of that, like I said, I never, there was nothing heavy. I'm like, oh my God. Mm-mm. No,
Wow.
it's
That's
like,
amazing.
here, do what you do. Go do what you do.
You
That's all
just
I got.
you was already comfortable. Wow.
Go do what you do. Go do
What's
what
your
you
you just got to go do what you do. You're very comfortable. That's amazing because the response I got, don't you ever get when you get comfortable, that means it's time to stop. This is what I've been hearing from other artists. So I don't know, you know,
Yeah.
but
And I understand that point of view. It's for me, it's not a sense of being comfortable. It's again, when you're working from a sense of this is now my ministry,
yeah, so now there's no reason to be.
people they can't afford for me to be afraid.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
They're looking for me to give them something. I have to feed them something. I can't feed it to you out of fear.
Right. That's right.
You can't have faith and fear at the same time,
That's right.
right?
Right.
So I can't feed you and give you the energy or whatever message vocally through music if I'm afraid.
And my thing was, you know what? I'm sorry, nervousness
Mhm.
like that. That's what I want to say. Where do you
Nervousness.
get?
You there's always you always get those butterflies, but
Okay.
again,
Okay.
I never got put myself in a position, and then it was like, okay, oh my God, no. I've always been like, let's go.
Let's go. It's on.
Let's
Let's go.
go. Let's go. Somebody need to hear this. Let's
That's
go.
right. That's right.
Somebody needs to feel this. Let's go, God. What? Come on, God. Let's go. Let it flow. And that's always been my thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Which of your own lyrics do you connect with the most? And can you share the story behind them?
My own lyrics. Um, there's a song I wrote from artists, and she never released it, and I said I'll probably come back and try to do it. It's called Let the Healing Begin.
Let the healing begin. Okay.
Let the Healing Begin, and it's one of those songs where even to this day, and I had wrote it back in like 98, 97, 98.
Hmm.
Um, and I had recorded it for myself as just an a cappella piece. And every time I come across that song and I listen to it, it brings tears to my eyes because it's just like saying, it's various different situations, and you kind of go into maybe a breakup or not
Yeah.
just a breakup, but just life in general. Let the healing begin, because it says you don't want me anymore. So I guess it's the end. I cried my last cry, telling your love goodbye, and I'm through with you. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Um, a lot of times. Uh, we tend to keep ourselves captive in situations that we need to walk away from. And we
Okay.
don't have the strength and or the know-how to do it. And so I wrote that song in particular to what I was dealing with at the time.
Mhm.
I was feeling captive in a relationship that just wasn't good for me, But as a young woman, I'm in my 20s, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I ain't learned nothing yet, I ain't went through no heartbreak yet, um, but listening back to that song and it still just remains so poignant in my mind, even years later because it happens and so many people need to understand that it's like you do have the strength in you to walk
Yeah.
away.
Right.
Let the healing begin. Let it go because the moment you let it go, that's when it starts. Let the healing begin. You know, I gotta just cry this last cry and let it go,
There you go.
whatever that's gonna be.
Let's
So,
go.
Let the healing begin would be a song that I've written lyrically that just still stands out for me.
Still resonates. Still stands out for you.
Yeah.
Wow. You have performed in prestigious venues. I mean, Blue Note Jazz, Japan, Hollywood Bowl. Would you say performing in those places and venues are the biggest of your highlight of your career thus far?
I'm going to reference it right back again. Dubai.
That was the one. Okay.
That was
Dubai.
the one for Dubai. I mean, the World Expo,
Right. Yeah.
2020 World Expo, and again to represent the United States in that capacity.
Wow. Wow.
During my week, it was me. It was Tank and the Bangas.
Mhm.
Uh, who else was that week? Tank and the Bangas, myself. Um, There was another artist too, and everything, and we were all there during that week, representing the United States, and just to be in that capacity, again to be on that stage to not only represent my country and be an ambassador of music through that, but just to see what this world is completely made of and seeing the beauty of it through music and through song, you know. Um, that was to me the biggest and
Highlight.
most
Well,
when it comes down to the just really just change life changing for me. I have to still reference the World Expo.
World Expo. Yeah, that was special. That's a special place you leave in your heart. The World
Yeah,
Expo.
yeah,
Wow. You've also mentioned your life's mantra is to just, trust the process, right?
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
elaborate on a specific time in your career where this philosophy was truly tested and how did you guide you? How did it guide you?
Um, what was it? 98, 1998. So, I have been singing, of course, singing professionally. And one of my first tours, Huey Lewis in the News, toured him for like 3 years on and off. And the thing about it is, growing up in the Bay Area, it wasn't like in LA.
Mhm.
So it was like, we'd go on the road, and then when I come home off the road, I'd go get a job, you know.
Okay.
And my first job was working for the IRS, believe it or not.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah, IRS, and I was a tax examiner for default tax cases, corporate cases. And I was one of the youngest tax examiners in the state of California at
Wow.
that time, which
Mhm.
was really, it was a dope job, right? Making way too much money
That's
to
right.
be a
That's right.
21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Um, dope job and everything. And then what happened was my division, they were moving to Ogden, Utah. And I was like, okay, so what does this mean? This is what it means. Your department's going to Ogden, Utah. So you can move to Ogden, Utah, and we'll move you there, or we'll have to place you somewhere else. I'm like, I'll tell you who not moving to Ogden, Utah.
You're not going.
I'm not going.
That's
So
right. That's
I
right.
didn't go. And then they tried to place me in somewhere else. And at the time, and then there was this hiring freeze that had happened. So they couldn't put me anywhere.
Wow.
Long story short, they ended having to severance me out. I had to
Oh,
get a
okay.
right and everything. So I walked away with all my benefits. I walked away with all my money. I walked away. It was like, okay. And then I went back on the road, of course. And then da da da. Then came back off the road and everything. And what do we do? Okay, another job. Got another job. This time I worked for um, at the time it was called Bank America Merchant Services. So
Oh,
it
okay.
was the credit card machines that Bank of America has. So for merchants and stuff, I was a programmer. So
Oh,
yeah, I would program those credit card machines and things like that. And same, when I tell you the same exact thing happened. Your department is moving to Spokane,
the
Washington.
same, the same exact thing
I was
happened.
like, okay, so we can move you to Spokane, Washington, or we
Or
can try to place you somewhere else.
yeah.
And they couldn't place us anywhere else. And I ended up having to get a severance and everything again, walked away with all my money, my benefits. And I remember this happened, say, May of 98. And I will remember, that my last day of work and I was, cleaning out my stuff. And I
Yeah.
remember driving home and I just said, God, okay, what are you trying to tell me?
Right.
If this is not, if you don't want me to work no 9 to 5,
That's right.
then because again, I never got fired. I walked away scot clean,
That's right.
walked away with my money, walked away
That's
with
right.
my benefits. So, but what are you trying to tell me? Because every time I go do this
It's
happens.
like it happens. Yeah.
I'm trying to say. And I was like, and I said, Lord, if you don't want me to work 9 to 5, I said, show me, make it so.
Wow.
2 weeks after that, a dear friend of mine named Spanky Alford, guitarist, just iconic guitarist, who's passed on now, called me and he says, Mo. I said, yeah. And he said, I'm down here in LA with Eric Benet.
Wow.
And they're auditioning singers. And I told them the baddest singer y'all need is my girl Monét in the Bay. They said, where's she at? She up in Oakland. And they was like, well, can she fly down here? And he was like, man, he said, they want to fly you down, to
Wow.
come audition. And I was like, okay. And they flew me down to audition for Eric Benet. And I went, again, being up in the Bay, we didn't really do the audition thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah. So
really like LA.
that's right. You just went and
Yeah, okay. So I flew down and it literally, I didn't bring any clothes or nothing with me. I flew down and did my audition and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. As I knew my flight back to Oakland was at like 5 o'clock and it's like 3 o'clock or something. I'm like, all right, well, thank you, and they were like,
yeah.
well, hold on. We would like you to stay. And I was like, huh? They was like, yeah, we want you to stay. Can you stay tonight? And I was like, oh, I didn't
Wow.
bring anything. They said, well, we'll get your room and everything. We
Oh
want to
wow.
hear
Okay.
we want to hear you with other vocalists. I said, what? They said, well, basically, we want you. We're
That's
just trying
right.
to find another singer to sing with you now. And I was
Wow.
like, what?
just like that. Wow.
And that was like I said, that was May of 1998, and I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since then.
That's a blessing. You prayed, you asked God, okay, well, what is it that you want, what I can do? You've been on there ever since. No,
That was
no
it.
turning back.
I
Wow.
said, look, if it's from, if this, because I was doing what I felt was, what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I was getting a job and then both times it had to get severance out. And I was like, and I was like, he covered me. So I didn't have to worry about paying my bills or anything like
Wow.
that. Or,
Blessing.
and 2 weeks after that, that's when I got called for Eric Benet. And because I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since then. And I was like, wow.
Wow. Well,
That
from
that's so when you say trust the process, that's what I mean. Just say fast, whatever it is that you know that you want,
that's right.
trust and see that's the direction you're gonna go in.
Trust.
Because again, I just had to say, God, okay, if you don't want me to work, you just want me to sing,
That's right.
all right, then make it so.
Wow. Wow. And this, what has been your biggest challenge you faced in your extensive career?
Biggest challenge? Um, I think right now, still, and probably most independent artists probably would agree with me. Just the uh going through awareness, getting people to know who we are as independent artists, because we don't have the big machines, we don't have the backings, we know. So everything we're doing as independent artists just comes out of our own pocket, it comes out of from us.
Right.
Um, and I think that's the biggest challenge, the awareness of getting people to know who we are as an independent artist.
Okay.
Um, Again, because we're going up against these people, the Chris Browns and the
That's right.
Money Long
Right.
and you know what I mean? Just to get, I mean, even to this day, it's like I got great songs, but how can I get them on XM radio,
That's right.
and
Right.
Sirius X, all these different, outlets and everything like that. Yeah, I can get them on internet radio, and both singles went to number one on the UK Soul Chart, which is great. But I
Yeah.
always say, okay, but if I can go number one on the UK Soul Chart, how come I can't go number one on the Soul Chart
And
and wherever,
that's right. I don't that is kind of confusing to me. Yeah. Wow.
right?
But
So that's the biggest challenge, I think, for me as an independent artist. It's just really, really trying to find out what the formula is and getting the awareness out of who we are, who I am as an independent artist.
wow, since you mentioned that, what are your thoughts on the music today?
Music today, I mean, it's good music out there. You just got to go know where to go find it. Artists are continuously producing and putting out good music. It's just the outlets that are most used aren't playing these artists that we want to hear. You know what I mean? Um, how come, I mean, and these are Grammy award. I mean, like Layla Hathaway is one of a dear friend of mine. She
Yes,
just
yeah,
has 6 Grammys, but yet, how come she's not mainstream?
yeah, she's not.
You know, my girl Led and I went to college together. I used to sing with her all the time. Same thing, Grammy Award winner, and she's, she embarking in on other stuff and everything, and building as best as she can.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, as amazing as she is, how come? Why are we having to go through these leaps and bounds and channels just for us to be
to be
recognized,
right.
acknowledged as these amazing artists? And
That's
that's
right.
just two. Oh, I could go on and on and on. So many, you know. So we find our lane, we make our own lane, which is all we can do, but we're all kind of on the same path,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
And so it's like, how do you it's a challenge. But the music is out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Every day
but
I'm hearing different stuff and different artists and you know, uh like, okay, who is that? And I try to listen to, just obscure artists like Moonchild so I can hear
mhm,
these other kind of artists and other types of sounds. That's how I discovered Yebba,
yeah,
and people like that. It's just, it's out there. You just got to know where to find it and tune into tune into it that way
tune into it.
because we can't get it on a regular spectrum.
I'm not a music fan of today. I mean, I love some of the artists, but I love my old school because I can't find nothing new. I don't
Well,
listen to.
old school. Well, old school because old school. Here's the thing, and I got this from a recording Lou Rawls had said, and he was so poignant when he made the mention. He was like, artists then were stylists. They weren't artists; they were stylists. And what he meant
Stylist.
by stylist was each artist had their own style. You
That's right.
know, Lou didn't
It was
sound like
different. Yeah,
everyone was different. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean? And
Right.
like we were saying earlier, everything is so recycled and whatever, whatever. Again followers, fans, trends, and blah blah
Right.
blah. That we're not getting the sense of originality. That's why we tend to stay within old school because Ohio players don't sound like Earth, Wind, and Fire. That don't
No,
sound like
no.
Funkadelic. That don't
That's
sound
right.
like Cameo. That don't
That's
sound
right.
like Baby Star.
That's
Don't sound
right.
like, you
That's
see what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
We had all these bands and these artists and things like that. That just was their sound. That was their thing.
That's right.
You
That's right.
know.
That's
So now you don't even we don't even have bands anymore.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, I mean, they trying to bring them back, certain groups, but you're right. Everything is just that love part and that good feeling part is gone. You don't get that no more when you listen to the music today. You don't get that you driving and you hear you keep sweat. I don't know, the whispers. You don't get that feeling no more. It's just not there. You know.
Well, because these songs were written and orchestrated to give you the feel good feeling.
Yes.
They
Yes.
understood what it meant to produce a great album or a great
Right.
record. So when you listen to again, that's what I was saying earlier. When you listen to records, that's when you put the record on and just let it
That's
play.
right. That's right. Just let it
No,
play.
they just let it roll. Well, people they don't do it. We don't do that anymore. That's why I was like, is
No.
it worth on a record? Because you're not gonna listen to it.
You're not. And then the attention span is so short nowadays, you don't even listen to the whole song anymore.
No,
It's just it's crazy.
no,
Wow. Hmm.
yeah.
This is my last question. I had a great time. I
Oh,
did.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. What is one piece of advice you were given early in your career that resonate deeply and still guides your decision today?
Oh gosh. As I always say, trust the process.
Yeah. Trust it.
Trust the trust the process, trust God. He's not going to lead you down the path that's not for you. And
That's
when you
right.
understand and know that to be true for yourself, you will fear nothing.
That's
You
right.
will
That's
you
right.
will continue on the path, be like, boom, this is where I gotta go, this is what I gotta do.
That's right.
Uh,
Right.
that pretty much is it sums up just who I am, period.
That's right. Trust the process.
You gotta trust it. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It don't make sense sometimes. You like none of this is making sense to me at all. You know, but you just got to be like, but let me hold on,
Stick
because
in it.
the human in you wants to just
Yeah.
shift it, change it.
Right.
No, 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 no,
Right.
no, no, no. You
Stick
got
in
to
it.
know how to just yield and sit back and let the works be what they do.
Sit back.
And yeah, just it'll make sense, and then you'll be like,
There you
that's
go.
why.
And you look back and see how far you became. Like, wow, I did this by just waiting and holding on. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I thank you. I thank you, Miss Monet, Miss Legendary Monet. I thank you so much for this interview. And
Oh
just
man.
there was no what's next for you. I know you have a show in December 27th coming up.
But like I said, Will Downing does have December Christmas the 25th, 27th and
27th.
28th
Yeah.
in Detroit and in Cleveland. Um with Will Downing, Avery Sunshine, and Leela James. That's happening at the end of December. I don't know. I'm more likely. I don't think I'm going to be there,
Yeah.
but you'll be able to catch me probably with Will at the top of the year at the Birchmere in January.
Okay.
Um, we do that every year, and then after that, I'll be on the Smooth Jazz Cruise, cruising with my brother Marcus Miller, and like
Wow.
I said, Boney James, Jonathan Butler, Mindy Abear. Larry Braggs, who else? Brian Culbertson. The list goes on and on and on. We have us a good time on the Smooth Jazz Cruise, and we do that 2 weeks. And so, like I said, I'll go over there, be on the ship for 2 weeks, and that's what I got going on top of the year.
I
And
see.
uh, I would love to come out and finally do some live Miss Monet shows. So that's our goal top of the year to start getting some bookings and come out and give you the Miss Monet experience.
Wow, wow, and more music coming. I know more music is on the horizon, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I want to thank you
You're
for
welcome.
coming to A Vision. You're welcome, A Vision Entertainment. That's all.
This is your girl, Miss Monet, and you are watching A Vision Entertainment. Get your life.